So Cook so far in Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been one of the most, I would say, played characters since launch. Definitely during the tech test, I played him like a little bit, and he definitely was a weird character to play because I thought the whole point was, oh, you're supposed to, because he's a cook, so you figure, oh, blood harvesting would be like the real way to play him. But then after watching like other people play him, I was 100% wrong, and I definitely was 100% not in the right state when playing that. Does blood harvesting builds work on Cook? In theory, it does, because you're basically just playing that support role. You're not supposed to get kills with Cook. You're supposed to just patrol, lock one area down, and then pretty much give information to your teammates. Sorry, I'm like not really thinking right now. I'm like in a whole nother world. So in this time, the question of the day is, does Cook deserve a nerf? I know in the upcoming patch, Cook's getting like a little bit of a change to where crouching victims that crouch walk will no longer be heard. So that's kind of interesting. So like it'll stop like the spam in some capacity. But in all honesty, though, the thing is with Cook is that he's detecting movement while he's hearing you. So like when you're running, he can hear you when you're like any type of movement in terms of like crawling up the stairs, you know, even going through crawl spaces, gaps, you know, he can hear you and all that's in those situations. But in some ways, in some cases, not. Like he's no longer gonna be able to kind of like, I don't know, what's the word? He's not gonna be able to hear you while you're crouch walking or crouch running, I guess. So the whole incentive is to pretty much just, oh, that's a nerf. But in some ways, in some capacity, in some cases of different changes, what I thought they would have done was, because I know Cook spam is kind of the thing where pretty much with Cook you can somewhat just use the ear and then just keep like marking them for a very long time, and you can pretty much just keep the consistency going with just how your time is with his marking. Because pretty much with Cook you can use the ear and then just keep marking survivors instantly or victims for the longest time, and then gain a lot of points from doing it. And I know I've seen some suggestions like, oh, what if they just made it so Cook, when he marks a victim, he has to wait like maybe like 10 seconds to mark them again or something to kind of stop with the spam. And to me, honestly, that wouldn't sound bad on paper if they were able to test that and see how to, you know, kind of get rid of like the spamminess on Cook. Now, I've seen some arguments, so like they shouldn't nerf Cook, they should, or like they shouldn't or should nerf Cook in some way because he's not like super busted. But I would say that he is pretty strong for the way he's played, but at the same time, it's like how, like, because in my opinion, he's like the strongest family member compared to the rest of the cast in terms of just, I don't know, it's a weird thing to say because it's like, oh, you would say, oh, well, Johnny's busted because, you know, he can just use the stupid speed tech and just keep swinging consistently and just gaining movement speed. Oh, what about you know, Hitchhiker? He has a lot of bleed damage on his traps, and he can pretty much, you know, just have all these traps and and his movement speed is bugged, so he can do a lot with his abilities or his kit. Yet in some situations, I would say that Cook is definitely the strongest family member, just in terms of just he can lock something down, he can hear. I would say for the most part, his whole kit is just like giving information, locking an area down, and you can play different ways of Cook. To me, harvesting isn't the best way to play him. Unless you want to do harvesting, that's totally fine. But it comes at a price. To me, the best way I play Cook is hybrid Cook, where Scout is literally your best friend on this map. So you can pretty much kind of just zoom around the map. I would say Family House is like his best map in my opinion because of the way the setup is. You have 2 doors in the front of the house and one back door. You can put the padlocks in there. And pretty much in some way, in my personal opinion, and like I said, in terms of just how his kit works, you know, with the way it is, because like Family House is his best map because he can pretty much lock all 3 doors, and the blood spawns are pretty fair and rare. And it's also the fact that he can literally just do almost everything except chase, because the whole point with Cook is not to chase, but the way I play him with the build is pretty much just hybrid Cook, where I can sort of chase, but I can sort of do other things as well at the same time, while just giving my teammates information. Also just to give anyone some sort of leeway to the whole point of the kit. And I also can have different builds, like for instance, like Scout and Serrated are really good with each other. I know the negative 10% damage is fine, but Serrated does damage over time, so that's also a factor you have to keep in mind. I know a lot of people do Scout Serrated security pins. That's definitely with Tougher Than Hell, so that's also gonna be one of those meta builds that's gonna be changed as well with Cook's padlocks. They're only making so security fins only affect Cook's regular padlocks, not like actual locks on the gates. So that's gonna be a real massive change to him. I think with the crouch change, so he can no longer see the crouch when he's or he's not gonna be able to use his ear when you're crouch walking, and that won't count as movement. But the problem with that, though, I feel is I don't think it's like or the problem is that from a lot of people, they're going to say, well, oh, Cook's going to be weak. I still think it's going to be fine. I think he'll definitely still be a strong character. Like a real nerf to Cook would probably be if they removed one of his, if he only had 2 padlocks. One nerf that if they wanted to do, which I don't think is necessary, which is the padlock, like I just said. But one change that would really affect his gameplay, and I think this would be fair if they were to test it, at least, is if they made it so you have to wait maybe like 10 seconds to not spam that victim over and over again. You'd have to wait a couple seconds, and then you can use it again on that victim. And then you could be able to mark other victims, and same thing, you only have to do it like once, and then you'd have to wait another time frame. That would really be a nerf to Cook if they were to do that. I know there's a lot of people that say he doesn't need it. I know there's a lot of people who say he's pretty fine, you should leave him alone, and rework the other family members like Johnny and Sissy, who have pretty much, in my opinion, are way more popular than Leatherface in his own game. So I don't know, to be honest. I think they should definitely, I'm fine with it, because I mean, I'm still going to play him. He's not going to be like massively weak in some way, but we'll have to see how it affects a lot of people's playstyles, if it'll do anything. Like, I know for the builds, I know for a fact that like people do Scout Serrated security pins, Scout Serrated Violent, and Scout Serrated with the perk that makes it so when you hit a victim, they're highlighted for like a certain amount of time. So I think with it's mostly the ear that's getting fixed or getting changed or whatever. I don't think for a fact that that he's going to be weak. That's just the main method here. So what do you guys think overall? Does Cook deserve a nerf? Do you guys think he's fine? I don't think he really needs a buff, but the question of the day is, does the Cook deserve a nerf? And should he get anything to compensate? Or do you guys think he's the right way he should be played? Because I know a lot of people say you can easily just counter his ability by just crouching, and that's it. He has definitely one of the best family or level 3 perks on his ear, where all the family members can see the highlighted aura. So we're going to have to see how he is until then. So without further said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. And as always, y'all know what to do. Stay groovy.